Young drunk.
Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I'm joined as always by my partner.
Hey, holla at your boy. This is Len, a.k.a. The Bat Tribble.
And here with the first review and critical conversation that we will have in the year of 2025, we will go backwards in time, at least as far as subject is concerned, with 2024's historical drama, The 6888, the story of the only African-American female battalion that served overseas in Europe during World War II. A film brought to us by writer-director Tyler Perry.
What?
Starring Kerry Washington and Ebony Obsidian. This conversation will be brought to us primarily by Lynn Webb. But before we get into all that, Lynn, how you doing? What's going on, man?
You know what? Until you actually said it, it didn't dawn on me on how cool a name is as Ebony Obsidian.
It's a cool name.
It's a cool
name.
But to be fair, it is a name that if we saw it in a movie as a character in a movie, what would you say?
Oh, that sounds like a name that a white person came up with. Is that her actual name?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that's not her stage name, or I didn't think about it at all until you said it just now.
Like whether or not
that's
her actual name.
Yeah, that's her actual name.
Her actual name is Kathy Crawford, a.k.a. Ebony Obsidian.
Right. Well,
I believe it is.
I mean, real quick, just looking at, Wikipedia, and if you can't judge Wikipedia, what can you judge? It doesn't say anything about it being a
I believe that is her
stage name. So, yeah. Yes, that is a cool name.
That is a cool name.
That is a cool name.
God bless your parents, Ebony.
Absolutely.
Shout out
because they doubled down. Like her last name was already Obsidian.
Choice.
Well, her name was Obsidian, so she would have Jill Obsidian is a cool name.
Well, yeah, anything pretty much.
Like Johnny Obsidian sounds like a detective.
Johnny Obsidian is dope.
Right. Like
that's a dope name.
Len Obsidian, Vince Obsidian, like Obsidian.
I don't know about Len and Vince. Len and Vince Obsidian doesn't work. Len and Vince, Vince. Okay, I'll give you Vincent Obsidian.
Len Obsidian, Private Eye.
I don't know. That Len Obsidian sounds like a French, I don't know, exterminator.
Well, I appreciate the double down.
I do appreciate
Ebony Obsidian.
I love that.
Now, I'm glad it seems that acting has worked out for her, because no one was ever she was never going to be able to apply for a job and someone answer the ad.
Well, that's not true.
Oh, it's 100% true.
That's not
There have been lots of studies that prove that. The only way her name could be blacker is if she was Ebony Leroy Obsidian. Ebony Leroy Washington Obsidian, applying for the job of accountant at your fine firm. Yeah.
You're saying we couldn't have Senator Ebony Leroy Obsidian?
We could, but only if she ran against somebody who everyone assumed was going to win from the other party, but then they were married to one of the actresses from Star Trek, who then they were going to a very acrimonious divorce, and come to find out he was kind of forcing her to go to sex parties and stuff. So then he dropped out, and then at the last moment, she got the Democratic nomination, and then she'd be a junior senator. And then if she was like this great orator that just came out of nowhere and got a slot at the Democratic convention, and then just kind of went from there. But that's really the only way with a name like that.
Just had that plot in your back pocket, did you?
I mean, that's what happened with Barack Obama.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, so I didn't have it in my back pocket. I just remember when we used to have a president who had an 8th grade reading level. But
look, we're streaming live on YouTube.
Yes, we are.
We're streaming from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video palace, to all of the missionaries out there in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Okay. I'm just going to right into the show. Which means we're starting with your emails, or as we like to call them,
missives from the missionaries.
So what else is going on, Len?
we have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the missionaries. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh, missives from the missionaries.
Vincent, we have an email from Anthony Davis.
Hey, what's going on, Anthony?
Hey guys, I'm currently listening to your 2025 Black Movie Calendar episode, and I just wanted to say that I agree with Vincent's assessment of Sam Wilson's potential inability to be an inspiring character in today's Black America. While I did enjoy his character arc in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, its handling of the racial implications of him becoming Captain America could have been better. Overall, I hope the film is successful enough to convince the powers that be to introduce Josiah X and Eli Bradley, aka Patriot, to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Love the show. Keep doing what you do. Sincerely, Anthony Davis.
All right. Anthony got a little knowledge in and brought up the Josiah X.
I know.
They kind of backdoored Elijah Bradley
In The Falcon and
the Winter Soldier. Like, I kept waiting for those who don't know, that's the grandson who didn't let Sam in initially. Like, I kept waiting for something where, like, he broke a door or something.
You see
so
it,
that you saw that
strength.
his strength, but yeah, I don't know if we're gonna see Josiah X though.
The only reason I say I'm not sure, and we might, is because they have tried to build up kind of like this quote unquote young Avengers type lineup with Hawkeye, the girl Hawkeye, Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, but that's what the grandson's gonna do. That's why Patriot's gonna be. Yeah, he's gonna be in the Young Avengers.
Right.
The son who joined the Nation of Islam and then became a Muslim
right.
super.
I forgot. Yeah.
I don't see him being on a lunchbox.
No.
Yeah.
No, not in America.
Although I think he's coming back in the comics, and that's the last comic comment. Go ahead.
Something tells me that's not the last comic. But all right, we got another email. This is from Terry Plain.
Hey, what's up, Terry?
Hi, Len and Vince. Happy New Year. Just wanted to comment on the Book of Clarence episode.
Okay.
You expressed interest of pairing Danielle Detweiler and Aldous Hodge. Well, you're in luck.
Oh, okay.
I just saw an interesting indie film with them called Parallel.
I remember this.
They are a husband and wife grieving the death of their their child. Excuse me. What are you doing?
Keep reading. Nothing to see here.
What are you doing over there?
I knocked over the gavel.
That's your sly way of making more room for your feet. You want people to look at your
I
sneakers.
think somebody moved the gavel because I have my foot in the exact same place it's in every week.
You just wanted to show off your new sneakers.
Somebody, they aren't new. These old things. Can you read the letter, please?
These old things.
Can you read the letter, please?
Oh, Dylan, can you wipe off my sneaker, please? I gotta scuff them a little bit.
I'm gonna say, Dylan, don't move the stuff around so I have my foot where it is every week. Have my foot in the same place every week. Now suddenly the gavel's in the way. I'm not saying it's Dylan's fault. I'm just saying I don't know who else moves things in here from week to week.
I ain't saying it's Dylan's fault.
Right. If you point it,
I'm just saying, keep your hand off my mark. I'm going back to the email.
Please do.
Terry says, you expressed interest in pairing Danielle Detweiler and Aldous Hodge. I just saw an interesting indie film with them called Parallel. They're a husband and wife grieving the death of their child when Danielle somehow finds a portal to alternate times where she seeks to find one where her child still lives. They are phenomenal together. I think you've mentioned this film before.
I mentioned it, and in full disclosure, I'm real sensitive about dead kid stuff, so I didn't watch it, but it looked like it was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want. Yeah.
And even when you were reading the plot just now, I kind of winced a little bit.
Yeah.
But
you're like me. There's certain films that seem very interesting, but I kind of don't want to watch them. One, because I know I'm going to have to watch them for the show. So it's like I watch them when I watch it for the show. I'm going to take in that first deal. All right. Terry continues. Now, what delighted me even more than seeing those two together was rounding out the cast of this movie with Aldous Hodge's brother, Edwin.
yes.
I absolutely love Edwin Hodge. This brother combo really played out well in this film. I saw this film streaming in Canopy, so I don't know if Parallel was actually on a movie release. Please try to review it in 2025. As always, onward and upward, Terry Plain.
Okay, Terry. Absolutely.
Is that on?
It's on the short list.
Okay.
On the short list.
All right.
All right.
So we will get to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
At a date to be mentioned.
Yeah.
Sometime in the future. All right, we got another email. This is from Nicholas.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
Good evening to the Micheaux Mission brothers, Len and Vincent, as well as the missionaries. Happy 2025 to everyone. Same to you, Nick.
Absolutely.
I was listening to the missives from the missionaries about cheat codes, and the fellow missionary forgot to mention that Vincent is a 70s junkie dude.
It's true.
Len loves Batman.
True.
And Vincent's hearty laughter. I laugh at the Len loves Batman.
You do love Batman.
I do love Batman. I do. But a friend was over my house this weekend because I stopped drinking. I don't drink anymore, right?
Okay.
So I've got so I have a whole bunch of alcohol in my house.
Okay.
And my friend was over to just like hey, so you ain't gonna be drinking this, right? So he's just take a couple bottles. And there was a book that is on my bar, and he was like, well, what's that book? I was like, oh, it's just a book of like recipes, like cocktail recipes. And it was like, oh, let me get that. But it's a book of cocktail recipes. All of them are based on Batman.
Okay.
So it's like the Gotham City, like it's a Gotham City Gazette drink or whatever. And he's like, dude, you really love Batman.
You really love Batman.
I'm like, it was a gift. He was like,
sure.
Yeah, it was a gift because they know you love
Batman. No, you love Batman, and they didn't know what else to get you.
So he's like, well, so you don't drink anymore. So what are you going to do with this? I was like, I don't know.
I mean, you can still keep the book.
I should be able to still keep the book, right?
Absolutely.
Even though I don't drink.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And then I can take the book to your house, and then you can make the drink, and you can drink it and tell me how it.
I mean, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I know.
Unless the drink recipe is take some bourbon, mix it with a glass. If it's warmer than 80 degrees, add an ice cube for flavor.
Anyway, I'm going to continue the email
All right.
from Nicholas.
Yeah.
Last year was the 35th anniversary of the airing of the Arsenio Hall show.
Yeah.
That show was to the black community, specifically to the hip hop community, as a lot of talk shows were ran by white men, often older, who did not catch on that hip hop would be a lucrative genre in the years to come. So I pose this question to you both.
Okay.
What did the Arsenio Hall show mean to the both of you? Did you watch it to see Eddie Murphy pop up every other week? What was your favorite episode? Whatever happened to shows that catered to a black audience? I am looking forward to the new episode and your answers. Nick.
Okay, Nick. So what's your Arsenio Hall show?
Well, I enjoyed the Arsenio Hall show.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to it. I recognize that it was putting our faces out there. where you know the late night shows of the time, which were what? Because by then it was the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
So it was Leno.
David Letterman.
Letterman, was Conan O'Brien floating around?
If Letterman had moved to channel CBS by then Conan would have taken his spot behind Jay Leno. I forget. The timeline gets a little fuzzy.
Sure.
But none of them were really featuring black artists.
No.
Black creatives in any way. And Arsenio was doing that while still bringing everyone was welcome to the Arsenio Hall show. Arsenio Hall show was definitely the cool place to be. And I thought that it was I actually thought that it was a perfect showcase for his talent, because I don't think Arsenio Hall, at least what I remember, I don't remember him being that great of a stand-up comedian. But I thought that he was a good guy to just joke around with. Right.
You
know what I mean?
Seemed like a good guy to hang out with.
Which is what the show was. And I loved how he built the show like that. He wasn't behind a desk. He was up. He was like, face to face with the guests, on these big chairs. He is the one that introduced, or maybe reintroduced, some would say, going into the audience and really not just going to the audience for like a game or anything, but just making them feel like, hey, glad you're here with us. Absolutely. Welcoming their participation, welcoming their laughter, their joy.
Like you said, it was a community.
He was
not
building a community. Right? You felt like you were at the stoop at his house.
Yeah.
So I like that. I definitely saw the difference when Eddie Murphy was, talking to Arsenio as opposed to when he was on, other places. But which made sense, one, because it's Arsenio, and two, because they were friends.
They were actually friends. At a moment where media was damn near openly hostile towards Eddie Murphy.
Yes, that is true.
Like you also have to say that, like this moment in time. Yeah.
It coincided with there were few and the shows that catered to a black audience were few and far between, so there was that. He was openly joked about on In Living Color.
Yeah.
But he still was doing his thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he was having fun, and he was joked about with love, as far as like, I can't remember like a favorite episode or anything like that. One thing that does stand out in my mind was that I loved, like, my favorite rapper of all time was Heavy D. So I love seeing him on Arsenio Hall show. Remind me, was it on the Arsenio Hall show that Shaq came out with the Fushnikins?
Yes. Shaq Fu.
Yes. I remember that moment.
Big ass jumping around on stage.
But you know what? It was electric.
Yeah.
It was electric, and you were talking about it the next day. So I do remember that. Those are the two things that really stand out right immediately in my head from Arsenio Hall. But I loved it. I applauded his success.
Yeah. Everything you said, I agree with, particularly the energy that he had, which was different than the talk shows at the time. And frankly, as you mentioned, I think talk shows incorporate that energy.
Oh, they've tried to
way more now.
Of course.
Like there really is a pre-Arsenio Hall talk show, post-Arsenio Hall talk show, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
Jimmy Fallon's show is nothing but
it's a
warmed over,
it's a
gentrified Arsenio Hall
show.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
all due respect to the Roots.
Oh, absolutely. All due respect to the Roots. And I know gentrified is a pretty loaded word. I actually like Jimmy Fallon, what he's done with the Tonight Show, but it very much is a post Arsenio Hall show, as opposed to, I think, a lot of the talk shows. even if if they don't follow the Johnny Carson model, they're following a David Letterman model more than, and I think that's what makes the Tonight Show different, even in this current school.
Yeah, I got you.
I think, like you said, I think there are, appropriately enough, as tonight we were talking about Black America's favorite director, I think that there are Black creatives that very consciously go for a crossover market, which I don't have a problem with that. But I do think that you can tell when somebody is talking directly to us, and then everybody else gets to kind of listen in. And Arsenio Hall definitely had that energy that he was speaking to a Black audience.
Yes.
Everybody can come in and listen, but I'm talking to this audience, which, as you said, the way he elevated hip hop was unprecedented. Which, my two great memories of Arsenio Hall, I think that is the first time I saw Scenario.
Yeah, that's right.
Live. And I remember
right.
watching it and saying, Busta Rhymes is going to leave Leaders of the New School because he's a star.
Well, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah,
yes,
but I mean, it was one thing to hear it.
Yeah, you kind of heard it coming. You're right,
I saw I saw Leaders of the New School once, like very early in their career. But that was a time, by the time Scenario came out, like I don't know if their second album was out yet or not. Like when I saw them, their first album, like I remember, I was like, who are these young boys jumping around so much? So I remember the Scenario, and then my absolute favorite memory from Arsenio Hall was when he had some boxers on, and Mike Tyson being almost awestruck with Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I don't even remember that.
It was the most human I had ever, because this was the height of the Mike Tysonness, and we damn near talked about Mike Tyson like he was King Kong, Black people and white people, and he was so deferential to Muhammad Ali. I thought it was such a beautiful moment, and I thought the only reason that Mike Tyson felt like he could be vulnerable like this,
because it was a safe space,
is because he was in this space.
Yeah.
And I always love that moment.
I think I now remember, because he's like real, like Mike is already like a very soft-spoken person, but he was like real soft-spoken.
He was like a child.
Yes, I think I still remember.
Yeah, it was an amazing, love Arsenio Hall.
Yeah.
Doesn't get enough flowers, absolutely.
Oh, he doesn't. All right, we got another email, Vincent.
Okay.
From Corey Nicole.
What's up, Corey?
Good afternoon, Len, Vincent, and missionaries. I want the missionaries to know that if they are having a bad day or are not in the right mindset, they should go back and listen to the Belly episode. Here we go.
T, we got to go to Africa. We've been everywhere.
Where?
We've been to the islands.
Where Len airs his frustrations while Vincent tries to make the movie make sense. It's an oldie but a goodie. Also check out an episode where they made fun of Black male singers in their performances. I almost died laughing. I know you guys have made friends and acquaintances with your guests within the last almost 10 years. I really want you both to check out and hopefully reach out to a YouTuber by the name of Tiffany Bird Harrison. Write this down, Dylan. She is a Black YouTuber who is an aspiring filmmaker, comedian, and critic discussing Black movies and media. Oh. She is branching out and discussing more mainstream movies this year. Some videos to watch are Black Hollywood, box office flops pertaining to Black movies, why white people don't watch Black movies, and my favorite, we need to talk about Black movies since it's not that deep. I hope you gentlemen have a great day and keep warm and cozy. Well, we will, Corey, and we will definitely look up Tiffany Bird Harrison, and if she's willing, be more than happy to have her on the show.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, and yes, Belly is on Len's actual short list to be part of our mission logs, which is our new series new series featuring the best of the Micheaux Mission that is airing every Tuesday wherever you find audio podcasts. So is it Apple, Spotify, wherever you can find that. We just kicked it off last week, and we are in episode 2 of Mission Logs, where we are chronicling the history of the Micheaux Mission and the Mystic Connection with our good friends Dorian, Simone, and Omar. Episode 2 just went up within the last couple of hours because I had extra editing I had to do on it, is our review of Clockers and Dorian's first appearance here on the Micheaux Mission. So wherever you check out the audio podcast, check that out because that's right there in your feed for your listening pleasure.
All right.
And Belly, once we get through this, which I think has about another 4 episodes to run, so in about 4 weeks, Belly, I think it may actually be the one I got coming up right after that.
We're going to Africa.
Yeah, because we're going to Africa.
Africa.
God. God.
Oh, boy.
Anyway.
Belly is terrible, but then it's also amazing.
You know, if you say so. If you say so. I'll leave it at that. We've got one more email, Vincent.
All right.
And it's from Michael Lockett.
Hey, what's up, Michael?
Hola, mis amigos. I am so looking forward to this week's show. More on that a bit later. With technological upgrades to my devices, I have increased warp speed and can now time travel even faster, in my mind. So my first out with you two was John Singleton's third outing, Higher Learning.
Yeah.
Which we reviewed with Joe Illich and Stephen Harris.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It has been so long since I saw this film, and it was exponentially better than I remember. More nuanced and better arcs. I love the 4 of you really, highlighting the work of Omar Epps, Tyra Swanson, and Tyra Swanson and Michael Rappaport. This may be an unpopular opinion, but this film is better than Boys in the Hood. I wonder if Tupac not being in this film was a blessing or curse for this movie's release, reception, and life. That's interesting. What do you think is possibly better than Boys in the Hood?
Let's go ahead, start 2025 off with a bang.
Here you go. Line that sacred cow right up there.
I think Boys in the Hood is overrated. And I think it's overrated because people talk about it so much. I think it's solid. I think Boys in the Hood is a solid film.
Right, because you're not saying it's a bad film.
It's not a bad film, but I think it is solid. I also think it is a film that does not age as gracefully as a lot of the films that came in its wake.
Okay.
Specifically, of course, Menace to Society. So although I've never actually thought about it, I might agree that I think Higher Learning is a better film than Boys in the Hood.
I've never thought about it either. Higher Learning is probably, on a technical level, a better film.
It's definitely more ambitious.
Definitely more ambitious.
Yeah, definitely more ambitious.
But I'm thinking just on a production level, it is probably a better film than Boys in the Hood by virtue of it being his third outing versus his first.
Sure.
And there's an argument to be made that the acting in Higher Learning is better.
Look, I was about to say, I think Tupac is actually extraordinary in Poetic Justice, but I think 85% of that is because it's Tupac. I really, really like Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood. Like, I think Ice Cube is I think Lawrence Fishburne is better in Higher Learning. And I think it's the best performance Michael Rappaport has ever had in Higher Learning. I think Omar Epps, yeah, I think I might be a Higher Learning. Yeah,
Higher Learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Michael continues. My second stop with you two was, hold on, I threw up a little bit in my mouth.
Oh, no.
The $6,000 nigger. I tried and tried to find something redeemable about this film and came up with squat. Wait, hold on. I got something. This film should be watched by anyone who doubts they can do a movie and get it out there.
Yeah.
The bar is not even remotely as high as you might think, because goddamn, this was bad. I don't want to step on your critique of the 688, which we will be reviewing tonight, ladies.
We are.
But I will leave my comments for next week.
Okay.
That said, watching this really, 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 and that's he put in all three of those.
It's a lot of reallys.
Made me ponder. Is Tyler Perry getting better with age? When you two look at his filmography, is he getting better at all the facets of the craft that he takes on? The writing, the directing, the producing. Look at his catalog. He is making meager jumps forward, but I am not certain if it is him or the projects and other players making him look better. What do you two think? All the best, Michael Lockett. Well, I definitely have my thoughts about that last part there, but we'll
save those.
Save those for the review.
That leads directly into the review. But.
Yeah, but thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
And thank you, everyone, for your emails. Mm-hmm. If you want to have your emails and thoughts shared here on the show, please feel free. Send us an email at micheauxmission@gmail.com. That's MICHEAUX, MISSION @gmail.com. And at this moment, Vincent and I and Dylan want to take a moment and share our thoughts and prayers for all three of us have friends who are dealing with some very rough circumstances out in Los Angeles now. We just want to let you know that our hearts and our prayers and our thoughts are with each and every one of you.
Absolutely.
And to the missionaries out there.
I was about to say our West Coast missionaries. We were thinking about y'all.
We definitely. All right. Vincent.
Yes, sir.
It is now time for the top five.
Top five. Who's your top five? My top five is. 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 My top five is.
Top five. The things you do when we're not on camera.
Oh, the things I do. The things you do while we're on camera. Excuse the hell out of me for checking in.
Top five. I come up with a list. I give it to Vincent, and he shares his commentary with me and you, the world. All right.
In real time, which is how Len likes to do things.
All right. In theme with our film, is we're going to be reviewing the 6888 tonight, which stars and is executive produced.
Yes, sir.
By one Kerry Washington.
Yes, it is.
And as we have been talking as of late about the other famous Washington family, that of the Denzels of Washington's, with Gladiator 2, and late in last year you were talking about the piano lesson, which you were watching and enjoyed,
right? And with John David.
Mm-hmm. So thinking about that, I wondered, are there other Washingtons out there?
It's a big plantation.
That are not getting their just due.
Okay.
So I have come up with a top five Wada Washingtons.
Okay.
Other Washingtons.
Okay.
Who I feel deserve their just due.
Okay.
And this is in order.
Okay.
All right. Starting at number 5 and all the way up to number 1.
All right.
Okay.
Some
of these are going to be Washingtons that you know. And some of these are going to be Washingtons that you're going to be like, huh?
Okay.
But
I'll call them Who Washington.
You'll call them Washington Who.
Right. Okay.
All right. So starting at number 5,
Okay.
we have Malave or Mal Washington, who is a former professional tennis player, born in June 20th, 1969. He actually reached the men's single final at Wimbledon in 1996,
Okay.
winning 4 ATP titles and achieved a career singles ranking of world number 11 in October of 1992. He turned professional in 1989. In 1990, while ranked number 103, he actually defeated the number 2 tennis player in the world, who was at that time Ivan Lendl,
Okay.
one of the Hall of Famers.
Sure.
His biggest success at a Grand Slam event came in 1996, where he was a runner-up at the Wimbledon Championships. On his way to the final, he defeated 9th-seeded Thomas Enquist in the second round and came back from a 1-5 deficit in the 5th set of the semifinal to beat Todd Martin, finally winning 10-8. Before the tournament had started, his odds of winning were 300-1. He eventually lost in the final to Richard Krajicek. But he gained revenge against Krajicek in the Grand Slam Cup in October of later that year. Now, you're probably asking, well, he sounds like a pretty prominent Washington.
Yeah, sure.
Fairly prominent Washington.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Now, you are not going to be able to see this, Vincent.
Okay.
But and if you're listening to the audio, you're not going to be able to see this. But this is why you should be watching this when we stream live.
It's true.
Or watch the video on YouTube
It's true.
on our YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell. You know when it's up there.
Tell your
The
friends.
missionaries can be watching right now because Dylan, we do have the picture of him up. The reason why I selected Mal Washington
Is because
he's your twin. He looks. I looked at him and I said, "Is this Vincent?" He looks almost exactly like you, Vincent.
Quite a
He
loaded.
stands like you. Something like, you know how sometimes, you know when you get mad at me and you have that look on your face. That's what he looked like. That's the face that he's wearing in that picture.
not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Okay. Well, Mal Washington was
No,
disappointed.
Washington's
He was disappointed in me.
Disappointed in you too. All right. Okay.
But now I'm giving him his just due.
Well, he's a good-looking guy, so he's got that going for him.
Yes. There he is. There he is, Vincent. You see him?
Doesn't look like me at all.
He looks.
If you were white, I'd quit the show right now because it's just racist. Because you're just being racist. Doesn't look like me at all.
looks like your face.
Not at all.
It looks like your face.
Doesn't look like me at all. Just a black guy. If you were white, I'd be flipping shit over in here. Like one of those screens would come up with the guy dancing across the screen and it'd say technical difficulties. You need to thank Black Jesus that we're all black. Who's number 4?
Quick programming note. Dylan, we cannot go off camera for the rest of the show.
It's like the dude standing in front of the camera and all the film is all jumbled up and it says technical difficulties. We'll be back shortly.
Number 4.
Number 4.
The Who Washingtons. LaDamian Washington.
Okay, he's African American probably.
Going out on a limb.
It's a name like Ebony Obsidian
Going out on a limb
or
there.
Barack Obama.
That LaDamian
Right.
Washington.
Yeah.
Black guy.
Right.
Who is a black guy?
Right.
LaDamian Washington, American football coach.
Okay.
And former wide receiver.
All right, glad that worked out for him because wasn't nobody going to answer him when he put in his resume in places.
Well, you tell me if this necessarily worked out for him.
Okay.
Okay. So LaDamian Washington was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Dallas Cowboys after the 2014 NFL draft.
Sure.
He suffered a right shoulder injury in June that forced him to miss most of their training camp. Mm-hmm. But he returned in time for the start of training camp. However, there were injuries on the defensive line that forced the team to waive him on August 2nd. Okay?
Sure.
He was then claimed off of wires by the San Francisco 49ers on August 3rd. However, he was cut by the team on August 30th.
Okay.
Then he was signed to the New York Giants practice squad on September 16th of 2014,
Okay.
and he was released on September 24th.
Okay.
He then signed to the Cleveland Browns practice squad on October 21st of 2014.
Okay.
He was waived on November 25th. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed him to a futures contract on January 8th of 2015. Then on May 21st, he was placed on the injured reserve list and was waived 5 days later. He then signed with the Kansas City Chiefs on August 3rd of 2015. He was released on August 30th. On September 1st of 2016,
Oh my God! Can we please just get to it?
he was signed by the Edmonton Eskimos
Sure.
of the Canadian Football League. That was September 1st of 2016. But however, he was released from the squad on September 13th.
Are we only in 2016? How long is this gonna go?
Wait a minute. I say all this to set up that he kept getting, on the team and then immediately cut.
So is he still doing this?
No, he was no longer a pro football player at all. But
He's like a chemistry
no,
professor.
what I
at the
appreciate
University of Montana.
no, what I appreciate now is he is a motivational speaker
Okay.
of you
Just
keep
you stick
keep,
to it.
You
You
keep going.
stick to it.
Just keep going. Just keep trying.
Stick to it. Okay.
And you know what? I got to applaud him for that.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because he was getting kicked in left and right.
We fall down, but we get up.
And he is the personification of that. LaDamian Washington.
A saint is just a sinner who fell down, but then got back up. It's a whole song about it.
So should we name him Saint LaDamian?
Well, we don't want to name him Saint because I think you have to die for that to happen. So we can just call him LaDamian.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So LaDamian Washington.
LaDamian Washington.
Here are your flowers.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Next, number 3.
Number 3.
This is a Washington that you know
Okay.
and has been mentioned on the Micheaux Mission
Okay.
a time or two. Freddie Washington,
Freddie Washington.
or Frederica Carolyn Washington, American stage and film actress, civil rights activist,
Yes, she
performer,
was.
and writer. She was of African-American descent. She was one of the first Black Americans to gain recognition for film and stage work in the 1920s and 30s. She was active in the Harlem Renaissance. Her best-known film role was as Piola in the original
That's
Imitation of Life
That's
from
right.
1934.
That's right.
She played a young, light-skinned Black woman who decides to pass as white. Her last film role was in 1 Mile from Heaven from 1937. After that, she left Hollywood and returned to New York to work in theater and civil rights activism. She told reporters in 1949 that she identified as Black because I'm honest, firstly, and secondly, you don't have to be white to be good. I spent most of my life trying to prove to those who think otherwise. I am a Negro, and I am proud of that. In 1970, Imitation of Life was nominated for Academy Award for Best Picture, but however, it did not win. Years later, in 2007, Time magazine ranked it among the 25 most important films on race. In regards to Freddie Washington, in 1975, she was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. In 1979, she received the Circa Award for Lifetime Achievement in the Performing Arts. And in 1981, she received an award from the Audience Development company Audelco, a New York-based nonprofit group devoted to preserving and promoting African American theater. And Freddie Washington is definitely a name who will return to the
Absolutely.
mission.
Yeah, we love Freddie Washington.
We do. We are fans of
we
Freddie
love
Washington,
Washington,
and
yeah.
she deserves
Absolutely, 100%.
her flowers. So there you go. All right.
All right.
Number two.
Number two.
A Washington that deserves flowers, and I'm going to read the resume, and then I'm going to let Vincent fill in a rest because I have a funny feeling doing this in real time
Yeah,
that you may have some thoughts about this.
Okay.
Number two, born in 1924, passed away tragically early in 1963. Born Ruth Lee Jones, but more popularly known by her stage name of Dinah Washington.
Yeah.
American singer and pianist,
Oh,
one of
yeah.
the most popular black female recording artists of the 1950s. Primarily a jazz vocalist, she performed and recorded in a wide variety of styles, including blues, R&B, and traditional pop music, and gave herself the title of Queen of the Blues. She was also known as Queen of the Jukeboxes. She was a 1986 inductee of the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. According to Richard Janelle at AllMusic, Dinah Washington was at once one of the most beloved and controversial singers of the mid-20th century. Beloved to her fans, devotees, and fellow singers, controversial to critics who still accuse her of selling out her art to commerce and bad taste. Her principal sin, apparently, was to cultivate a distinctive vocal style that was at home in all kinds of music, be it R&B, blues, jazz, middle-of-the-road pop, and she probably would have made a fine gospel or country singer had she had the time. Hers was a gritty, salty, high-pitched voice marked by absolute clarity of diction and clipped bluesy phrasing. Vincent, what you got to add about Dinah Washington?
I don't have a lot to add to what you said. I love Dinah Washington, and in that cohort of the great black female voices of jazz, you know, you think Sarah Vaughan, you think Ella Fitzgerald, I'll throw Shirley Horn in there as a bit of a dark
Nancy
horse.
Wilson.
Nancy Wilson, of course. Yeah. And I actually feel like Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson are kind of, because there is that, I know we use this euphemism, it's like they sung the blues, but in my mind, just a lot of their personality comes through. I think so many of the black vocalists from this period in the 50s and 60s, you almost had to, I don't want to use a word like neuter, but you had to have this kind of almost neutrality to your voice.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what it's saying about Dinah Washington.
But with Nancy Wilson and Dinah Washington, I felt like a lot of that, their actual personality would come through, as opposed to, like, I think Ella Fitzgerald's personality would come through, but I think she was just so amazingly talented that the line between personality and talent kind of blurred.
Okay.
I know I'm not really making, that's not necessarily clear what I'm saying, but Dinah Washington, you knew it was her, and it's like you knew her.
Okay.
Ella Fitzgerald was infinitely talented and blessed, but I didn't necessarily get the sense that I knew her like I do when I hear Nancy Wilson and Dinah Washington.
You feeling like you're feeling like they're infusing their music with more of who they are.
Right.
Yeah, I feel you.
Right.
I feel you on that.
Right.
I feel
completely subjective, completely off the top.
No.
I could probably be more articulate if.
Because I became a fan of Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson because they were favorites of my mother.
Okay.
And she would play them in the house. And listening to them and knowing that they were so, like her favorites, I got the sense that, like, I think I got to read on who these women are.
Right.
And then when I would see interviews, or I've seen interviews or read about them, it seems like I was on the mark with that, you know. Also, I could see a little bit of the style that they had. My mom kind of like emulated a lot of that, and I could see that as well. So that was actually, it actually is.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I think about my mom, I return to Dinah Washington,
Yeah.
Nancy Wilson songs. Another note about Dinah Washington, that there were actually 3 recordings of Dinah Washington that were actually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Which is a special Grammy Award established in 1973 to honor recordings that are at least 25 years old and have qualitative or historical significance. The 3 of them are from 1959. What a Difference.
What a Difference a Day Makes?
What a Difference a Day Makes.
24 Little Hours.
1954's Teach Me Tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And 1959's Unforgettable.
Okay.
Okay. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame listed her TV is the Thing this year, which is a song that came out in 1953, as one of the songs that shaped rock and roll.
I am not familiar with that song. I have to go listen to it.
Also, I'm not familiar with, you're probably familiar with this album from 1964, Unforgettable, a tribute to Dinah Washington that was recorded by Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Okay, I was not familiar with
Yeah, that's part of that weird period when they didn't know what to do with Aretha Franklin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that was that weird period, and like before she got on Atlantic, and like locked in.
Okay.
So it's like,
well, maybe you can do Dinah Washington type stuff.
Right.
Okay.
There was actually a wonderful compilation that came out. Oh my God, we are so old. Like 20 years ago, and it was called like it's called like the Queen. Like the Queen in jazz or the early Queen, but it's all Aretha Franklin doing jazz, and it's a fascinating kind of album because it's Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
so it sounds amazing, but it's like jazz,
Which is not what you equate with.
right? And
Aretha.
it's like
So I got to check that out
so,
too. All right, now we'll move on to number 1.
number 1 Washington.
Number 1 Washington. And this is a Washington that I think that unfortunately, as time moves on, like unfortunately some of these other names, history is slowly forgetting. But like Freddie Washington, like Dinah Washington, this Washington at number 1 deserves to stay like planet as a name that you remember. And this is jazz and Philadelphia legend
Oh, okay.
Grover Washington.
Great Grover Washington Jr. Absolutely, 100%.
Jazz, funk, soul, jazz saxophonist, and Grammy Award winner, along with Wes Montgomery and George Benson. He is considered by many to be one of the founders and legends of the smooth jazz genre. He wrote some of his material and later became an arranger and producer throughout the 70s and 80s. Grover Washington made some of the genre's most memorable hits, including Mr. Magic,
Yep.
Reed Seed, Black Frost,
And
Wine Light,
get to it.
Inner City Blues,
And
The Best Is Yet to Come,
yeah.
Let It Flow for Dr. J. In addition, he performed very frequently with other artists, including Bill Withers on Just the Two of Us, Patti LaBelle on The Best Is Yet to Come, and Phyllis Hyman on A Sacred Kind of Love. A string of acclaimed records brought Washington prominence in the 70s, culminating in his signature piece for everything he would do from then on. Wine Light from 1980 was the album that defined everything Washington was then about. The album was smooth, fused with R&B, and easy listening feel. His love of basketball, especially the Sixers, led him to dedicate Let It Flow to Julius Dr. J. Irving. Washington is credited for giving rise to a new batch of talent that would make its mark in the late 80s and 90s. He is known for bringing Kenny G to the forefront, as well as artists such as Kurt Wallum, Walter Beasley, Steve Cole, Pamela Williams, Najee, Boney James, and George Howard. His song Mr. Magic is noted as being influential on go-go music starting in the mid-'70s.
And it's the Philliest song of all time.
It is definitely. Vincent, what do you got to say about Grover Washington Jr.?
Of course I love Grover Washington Jr. I was actually I wouldn't even call him smooth jazz.
No,
I see how it comes
see it.
from him, but yeah, he's more like
he was jazz.
He was soul jazz.
Well, they say jazz, funk, soul, jazz.
You know one of my things, like I hate when they say Just the Two of Us is a Bill Withers song.
Because it's definitely Bill Withers and Grover Washington.
It's actually a Grover Washington featuring Bill Withers song.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that.
It's
It's on his album.
on Grover Washington's
It's on Grover
album.
Washington's album. That's right.
So that's one of my little things. It's not a Bill Withers song. It's a Grover Washington Jr. song featuring Bill Withers.
All right.
No, I do have friends, for real. People do like me.
No one here. So that's the top 5.
5 Washingtons.
5 Washingtons for you.
For you.
Keep them in your memory banks.
All right.
And now it is time for the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, Vincent, where I give you 2 actors and you have 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin. Another name you should not forget.
You should not.
Time for should not forget. All right. There's no theme to the 6 Degrees of D'Urville
It's all
Martin.
very chaotic.
It is. It is. But, oh, no. Actually, I forgot. I did come up with a theme. I came up with a theme.
All right.
We are reviewing tonight the 688,
Yes, we are.
which is written and directed by Tyler Perry.
Yes.
And one of the questions that is on the table
Okay.
in our review is, has Tyler Perry stepped his game up?
Yes. Yes.
Has he taken a turn?
Okay.
Is this the best of Tyler Perry?
Okay.
And I think I would go out on a limb and say that should that prove to be the case, we will be pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
Even to go further than that, we will marvel at the opportunity in front of Tyler Perry to step up his game.
Okay.
So with that ram-fisted note, these 2 actors
Okay.
that you have to connect to D'Urville Martin,
All right.
you cannot use any Marvel movies.
Okay.
All right? So, without any Marvel movies,
Okay.
connect D'Urville Martin in 6 movies or less,
2.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay. Just got to get Doctor Strange out of my head. Okay, boom. So D'Urville Martin. D'Urville Martin is in Oh, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna be a little cute. I hope I have enough to get to it. So D'Urville Martin is in No, I'm going to be too cute trying to get to it, so I'll just get to it. D'Urville Martin, 5 on the black hand side. Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is in Inside Man with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is in Z for Zachariah with Chris Pine. Chris Pine is in Star Trek Into Darkness with Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch, where he plays Khan.
Yes.
Even though remember they spent like 2 years telling us
saying
he
it's
wasn't
not
going to be
Khan.
Khan. It's like clearly he's Khan. Oh, he's not Khan. I mean, he's definitely Khan. I was really irritated because quietly I wanted him to play Harry Mudd.
I know you said. I remember you saying it.
Right, but there you go. And no Marvel movie.
No Marvel movie. Very good, Vincent.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Well done. And George Cremona was in the chat screaming, "You Star Trek! You Star Trek!"
You Star Trek. Yeah.
So there you did.
All right.
All right.
This is interesting. So who else is in Marvel and I can't use Marvel?
In 6 movies or less, connect
Okay.
Derville Martin to Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson. Okay.
No Marvel movie.
No Marvel movie. No Marvel movie. You know what? I will go same initial path to Mo Better Blues. But in Mo Better Blues, I'm going to go to John Turturro.
Okay.
John Turturro is in The Big Lebowski
He is.
with Steve Buscemi.
He is.
Steve Buscemi is in Ghost World, which I believe is Scarlett Johansson's first film.
Ghost World is not Scarlett Johansson's first film.
But she's in Ghost World.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Very good, Vincent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well done. Was Ghost World, was that the one you chose to go to, or was that the only one you could go to?
No. I could have got to her. And I thought about her because we were just talking about her last week, remember? Think about her, the Joaquin Phoenix.
I thought it was Joaquin.
Whatever. Joaquin Phoenix, besides
You could have
her,
gotten it.
my big thing with him is he's in like 300?
No.
No, he's in
Gladiator.
I'm right, he's in so I could have went to Gladiator.
Yeah. Which is where I thought you were going to go.
Right,
So I
right.
thought you were going to go Denzel Washington to American Gangster with Russell Crowe.
And then Russell Crowe to
Gladiator to Joaquin to
Phoenix.
her.
You know what? I couldn't remember whether or not he was in 300 or Glad. I just saw him in one of them frocks. Like I'd forgotten what movie he was in one of them frocks.
Yeah, see, the way to remember that is that in 300, they don't wear frocks.
They don't wear frocks.
In 300, they just wear capes.
Well, I knew
they don't just
No,
they're walking around with no shirts.
I knew
on.
he was one of the right, like a royalty guy.
He's the king.
He's the king. I believe that's the movie where he has one of my favorite lines where he's like, I will not be vexed.
Yeah, I'm vexed.
You vex me and I will not be vexed. Which is such a great line.
You know, I love Gladiator, but he is my favorite part of Gladiator.
Yeah.
He is just having so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
He vexed me.
And I shall not be vexed.
Joaquin is.
Like, you know, he's playing the character as somebody who's had syphilis for like 5 years and is eating his brain up. Like he's actually playing a crazy person.
I believe it.
All right.
All right. Well, there you go. That is the Game of Kings.
All right. I like that, though. That was a good theme.
Okay.
Yeah, it made me move a little bit.
Well, we'll have to keep that theme going.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was getting too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel's like, they got like all of Hollywood in it.
I know. And now Denzel.
Now Denzel's
out to be in Black Panther.
Jesus.
You know, I saw that and I just nodded my head.
Everyone. Everyone. I mean, I was going to say, who's next? Anthony Hopkins. He was already in a Marvel movie.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Who's left? The only one left who has not been in a Marvel movie is Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Like, Tom Cruise has not been in any superhero movie.
he is not.
I think he may be the last man standing. I mean, not everybody's been in a Marvel movie, even though most of them have.
Jamie Foxx hasn't. I'm thinking of the big marquee.
Okay. Jamie Foxx has.
Julia Roberts.
Okay, but it's all right.
I mean, she hasn't.
But true. But is she still marquee now? Well, I guess throughout the.
Right, I mean, like the old time.
Okay, all right. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
Sly Stallone. I see. Damon Sly Stallone was in Guardians.
He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. All right. Oh, it's time for our review
Oh yeah, it's time for our review.
of the 688.
Pull my joint up because you about to talk about this.
And George Carmona corrected. Jamie Foxx was in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh, he sure was.
He was Electro. I mean, I'm sure he would rather forget it, but he was Electro.
Yeah. He wasn't bad in Far From Home, reprising the role.
Yeah, that was a better movie.
Yeah. All right. We're not going to sit and talk about it. You ready?
We can't sit and talk about
No, we cannot. The 688, a 2024 American war drama written and directed by Tyler Perry on the 6,888th Central Postal Directory Battalion, an all-black and all-female battalion in World War II. The film features an ensemble cast, which includes Kerry Washington and Ebony Obsidian. Based on the 2019 magazine article, Fighting a Two-Front War by Kevin Heimel, this was the choice of Len Webb. Len, how would you like to start our conversation on Tyler Perry's most current film, The 688th?
888. Well, I want to start here. You referenced that this film is based on a 2019 magazine article, Fighting a Two-Front War, which detailed the contributions of the 688th Central Postal Directory Battalion, an all-black and all-female battalion in World War II, led by one Charity Adams. And you can see these women, these heroes, at the end of this film in the actual footage of them as they marched into Europe. A scene that is recreated in the film, but at the end of the film, you actually see the actual footage of them marching in. And I want to say unequivocally, the story of this battalion and about how they finally were given the opportunity to prove their worth in World War II by taking on this mission of delivering a backlog of, I think, like 2 years of mail, which totaled into close to, or maybe a little over 17 million pieces of mail that had been backlogged. The government gave them 6 months. Well, the military, to be fair, gave them 6 months to get this mail delivered. They delivered it in 90 days.
Yes.
Fighting through all types of red tape, racism, sexism, like everything that you can imagine being thrown at black women in the white man military
in 1943.
In 1943 and 1944, anything you think may be thrown against them, times that by 10. And they got this job done. And like a story that has been repeated over and over and over the annals of time, they did not get anything close to their justice until within the last, I think, 10 years, 10, 20 years.
Not even that.
Not yet.
I was
Even
gonna
fairly
say
recently, last 5 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because that story ran in 2019.
Exactly.
And that's kind of like what sparked, them finally getting their recognition, finally the government, the military recognizing their contributions to the war effort. So I want to say that unequivocally, their story is a story of heroism and a story that deserves to be noted and told.
Okay.
Boom. Putting that out there.
Okay.
This film, written and directed by Tyler Perry, executive produced by Kerry Washington, the star of the film. Mm-hmm. What you see is two prominent creatives in Hollywood coming together to take this heroic story and put it on the screen.
Yes.
Where it belongs.
Okay.
It's a story that deserves to be dramatized.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because there is drama in this story.
Yes.
There is a story to be told here.
So how Tyler Perry did?
Well, before I speak about how Tyler Perry did, I'm going to talk about what I enjoyed about this film. Okay? This film, as you mentioned, stars Kerry Washington in the role of Major Charity Adams. Mm-hmm. Kind of like she is the lead of this film, mm-hmm. right? However, the movie, you are brought into the world of this movie by Ebony Obsidian in her role as Lena King, or Lena Derricott Bell King, to give her full name, a young graduate, a high school graduate, who decides in the wake of a tragedy that I'll allude to, speak of in a moment, decides that she wants to join the army and, in her words, fight Hitler. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And joining the army, she then teams with these other women who are in this battalion, mm-hmm. this Women's Army Corps battalion. Johnny May, played by Shanice Shante. Dolores Washington, there's a Washington, played by Sarah Jeffrey. Elaine White by Pippi Sanunga. And Mary Catherine, played by Sarah Helbringer. And I think there are a few others on here. Also want to shout out Milana Jackson, who plays Kerry Washington's captain, Major Charity Adams' captain, her second, mm-hmm. Captain Noel Campbell. But you're introduced into this world by this group, by these 4 or 5 black women who become like your surrogates into this world. Mm-hmm. What it means to be in this battalion, what it means to be a black woman in the army in 1943, 1944, circa 1943, 44. And what the obstacles that they have to jump through to get to the other side. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've watched any war movie, mm-hmm. you've seen this group before. Mm-hmm. You know, the young innocent, the saint, aka churchy person,
church girl.
The church girl, or boy if it's a group of guys.
Sure.
The bigger, larger personality. Mm-hmm. Let's put it out there. The one, especially if it's a group of girls, there's one that maybe is played as a little bit more hypersexual, mm-hmm.
or sexually aggressive.
A little aggressive,
mm-hmm.
sexually aggressive. And there's always one that kind of like toes the line, the straight lace.
Sure.
You know, you've seen this grouping before. You've seen these archetypes before. And that is what Tyler Perry or the film sets up for you in these in this window into this world. And though the actors in these roles, I think they do a pleasing job in the role of what they are asked to do. Okay? I think they wear the roles well.
Okay.
For
Well,
what it is,
Well.
for what they are asked to do in this film.
pleasing and well.
We got pleasing and well.
Okay.
Okay. I will say that Milana Jackson as Captain Noel Campbell, she to me was one of the standouts. For some reason, she of all of them looked the most authentically like a soldier.
Okay.
In her gear, in her demeanor,
Sure, I see what you're saying.
in the way she was carrying herself. Even when she was, on the clock or even off the clock, she still came across as believable.
In the film's defense, that she and Kerry Washington's characters are the two officers.
Right. They're
The other characters have just joined the military, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yes, it makes sense. It makes sense. But in that, like Kerry Washington, who I think is fine in the film, I never 100% believe her as this leader of.
Oh, so you think she's even better than Kerry Washington?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I just found her more believable.
Sure.
Like I would have actually loved to see them maybe flip the roles a little bit. But I understood it's Kerry Washington, that's the name, and you want to have her in that lead role.
Sure.
And I think she does it fine. However, with that, we have reached the end of what I like about this movie.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, this film is trying to tell a story that deserves to be told, but it doesn't want to really tell you the story.
Interesting.
To me, it just wants to give you cliff notes of this story. The bare minimum of this, like the story is that this battalion fought through all these indignities to carry out this mission.
Right.
You get hints of the indignities, but and while I understand you don't want to maybe be punching or have it hidden in you upside your head constantly, but you only really get hints and whiff of the indignities. And you are told of some of the indignities. You're not necessarily shown a lot of the indignities. You are led to believe and told at the end of the film that they carried out this mission and they were successful in this 6-month mission in less than 3 months. But you are not shown them doing this mission. You are not shown how they carried out this mission. You are not given any insight into what it felt like to be in the midst of this mission. Because I have to imagine that it was pretty arduous. The film tells you that these women were working 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
That sounds maddening. I would like to see that,
dramatized.
Sure. That story is what the film tells you, that Major Charity Adams was this leader of these women. As far as the women were concerned, as far as the army was concerned, they could give a damn about her. And that was a struggle that she went through. I would have liked to see more of that dramatized in this film. There was a moment when Major Charity Adams and Captain Noel go to one of these bunkers where all this mail it has been kept, because they want to. At this moment, they don't know how much mail is before them. They were just told that their job is to deliver mail, and they've got 6 months. They're like, well, we could do that. 6 months. We're just mail women. Well, we'll just be the best damn mail women. They go to barrack, this bunker, and order the soldiers to open it up so they can see how much mail is in there. And then you see the camera is on them, in front of them, as they look towards up. Wow, all of that is the mail that we have to do? And the soldiers tell them, yes. And all of these bunkers, and you see in the background a row of like
the warehouses at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Right.
Yeah.
Are full of bunkers.
Yeah.
And so they're all just as full. Mm-hmm. The film tells you that. It doesn't show you how full they are. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Not at any moment, to just give you the scale of this feat that is before them, so that you can then be all the more amazed at the accomplishment.
Right.
You know, the only time this film takes a moment to show you any sort of scale is that when they are given the opportunity, this is what they're going to do, and the army sets them up at some abandoned high school. This is going to be their base of operations, where they were going to have to live, cook, clean, and work out of to deliver this mail. Mm-hmm. And when they walk into this abandoned high school, there is a brief moment when they walk into some room and the camera pulls back, and you can see that things are just stacked up, chairs just stacked up, boxes are stacked up, it's dirty, it's dilapidated, there's rats running all over the place. And to give you a quick sense of what is before them, because they are going to have to clean this high school before they can turn it into a base of operations. Mm-hmm. And the film gives you a montage of the women cleaning the high school to turn it into a base of operations. I would have preferred a montage of them doing the job.
Like doing the job. Yeah.
Especially considering when you learn, as you look, because like any piece of history, you read this story, you know they're going to take some liberties with some of the stories. In reading on the story, you learn that these women did indeed were set up in a high school. Mm-hmm. The high school was fine in actuality. Mm-hmm. It was not dilapidated. It was not run over by vermin. I mean, it probably had some like dusting that had to be cleaned, but it was nothing like what they made it seem. So it's Tyler Perry trying to tell me what is worth dramatizing in this heroic story of these women, them cleaning a high school versus them actually doing the job and the struggle and the fight of what they actually had to overcome. He had to create an obstacle. There is more than enough obstacles in the real story that you do not have to create some fraudulent obstacle to put in front of them.
Put a pin in that.
I'll put a pin in it.
All right.
So that aspect of the story was bothering me.
Okay.
There are other things that bother me, but some of them I was trying to let go of. I'm a fan of war movies, right? Mm-hmm. And I recognize that war movies, inherently, especially now in the late 20th, 20th century, 21st century, they almost all have like a bit of a sheen of trying to present some level of authenticity to what it was like to actually be there in war, right? Some vermicelitude to the environment that is being portrayed on the screen. And this film starts off with taking you into a battle.
Yes.
And there is an attempt to present some authenticity in that on this front lines that it presents on the beginning of the film. Yet I, who was not in the military, looked at that scene and said, this absolutely makes no sense.
Okay.
There are men lined up, they are standing in bunkers with their heads out of the bunkers.
Yeah.
Which you don't, and they're just standing there. You're not like pulled into the middle of the battle. They're standing there waiting for you to say fire. This is not the Revolutionary War. This is World War II. This is not how it goes down.
I don't know a lot about World War II tactics, but when I think about trench warfare, which is what they set up, this thing, I always think about World War One.
Well,
so then I didn't know if maybe.
Well, no, there were.
To be fair, I just don't know.
No, there was trenches in World War II.
Yeah, but it definitely seemed like a trench warfare situation.
No,
So,
it did seem more trench warfare, which is World War One, but there were similar themes.
It was similar
in World War II. They were, but you don't stand
like that.
No, you don't.
Waiting for somebody to say.
No,
go.
you don't stand in a chorus line.
All right.
Waiting. So, but if Tyler Perry didn't want to go and look, get some type of military expert to kind of like walk him through some accuracy, because I mean, reading some of the reviews, there's a lot of veterans who thank God for the story, but dog, could you have gotten some things right, some of the like salutes right, and some of the commands right? But some people will say you're nitpicking when you.
Some people would say you're nitpicking. What about the spirit of the endeavor?
Okay. The spirit of the endeavor, which to me is putting the story on screen.
Yes.
I have to applaud.
Okay.
However, to have these women on American soil practice, fighting to get into the war, to have them with their hair done, makeup on, I'll give you a pass. They're still on American soil. They ain't into the fight yet. Mm-hmm. When they get to Europe, you're not wearing lipstick. You're not wearing makeup.
So that threw you out of it.
It didn't throw me out of it because I was trying hard to be into the movie and recognize the importance of the story that was being depicted. But it's one of those it's a small thing that is fixable. It is a small thing that doesn't have to happen.
It's a small thing that doesn't have to happen.
And it is the sign of a not paying attention to certain details. It is the difference between being just a person doing the job and being someone that is skilled and learning in the job. Okay. And if you want to give the pass to Tyler Perry, that this certainly, it seems to be like, if not possibly his biggest project that he has worked with. I wasn't able to find out what the budget for this film was, but I would imagine he's probably working with his largest budget in this film. And if you want to give him the pass that this is his first time working with a budget this large, okay, you can give him that pass. I can't give a man who has probably written and directed close to 20 films already. I can't give you that pass. And produce other films. I can't give you that pass because I think you should know better. And if you don't know better, you have been in the game long enough to get people who know better to be by your side, to trust you, to really just dot the I's and cross the T's so that this story that deserves to be told can be told with the most accuracy, authenticity, and respect to the actual story, the actual heroism of these women as they deserved.
Okay. All right. I will take the opposite tack that you did, and I will start with the aspects of the film that I didn't think worked.
Okay.
The script is horrendous. The script is absolutely terrible. It
feels like a first pass.
It feels like a first pass. Tyler Perry famously talks about how quickly he writes his scripts, and I believe 2 weeks is what I've heard him say with how he worked on it. And you can tell.
Yes, I want to put a pin in that one.
Like you can tell. Just the dialogue is amazingly stilted. Mm-hmm. The plot development is telegraphed to the point of you actually need to watch maybe 10 minutes of the movie to know every beat that unfolds. There's that. So there's that.
Yeah.
Kerry Washington's accent is terrible. Mm-hmm. I know she's playing someone from the South.
Yes.
I know you know I'm a huge fan of Kerry Washington, but Kerry Washington she takes a fairly big swing with this accent, and it is distracting. It is absolutely distracting. I think, like you, I thought that the scenes with Kerry Washington and Milana Jackson were the best, frankly, because they seemed like the most seasoned actors in the cast. I know Ebony Obsidian has worked a bit, but she's worked primarily, most recently, on Tyler Perry productions. And I applaud Tyler Perry using actors who perhaps have not had as much experience. Mm-hmm. But this is a lot to put on the shoulders of actors who have not had a lot of experience. And unfortunately, you can tell that, coupled with this script, the bulk of the action that happens with this core of young soldiers drags.
Yeah.
You know, that coupled with the very, very sort of cliche-ridden script. Like you talked about these, I thought you saying archetypes was very generous about these characters, whereas in my mind it was very cliche, including something that you see oftentimes. If there's a Tyler Perry production, you can guarantee there's going to be a female character who's a little heavier than the other characters, who is really stereotypically Southern and sexually aggressive. And it's the type of thing where I joked earlier before, like if you were white, I'd have flipped the table over. Like if a white person created this Tyler Perry type character, we would all be screaming racism. But somehow, this is one of his go-tos for comic relief. And that is there as well. And I think that covers a lot of what I don't like about this film. Because, again, the script is, if you've seen any of these movies, and certainly these sort of aspirational, inspirational Black period pieces, it's always going to be just a mustache twirling racist who says that I'm super duper racist, you Negroes, I'll never give you the respect, racist. And you understand that an hour and a half later, he's going to begrudgingly give them their respect. And sure enough, that happens. I think the biggest problem this film has is that it is a 2-hour and 10-minute film that could very easily have been a solid hour and a half film. How do I want to say this? How do I want to talk about this? So, like, my son is learning how to swim.
Okay.
He's learning how to swim. And I think the thing about learning how to swim is you have to have a degree of confidence when you swim. Like it's
Yes.
at some point you know how to swim. You just have to understand that you have to let go
Yes.
of the side of the pool.
Yes.
And I thought about that watching this movie because I think the biggest problem with Tyler Perry in this film is Tyler Perry. I think Tyler Perry leans on this sort of, it's got to be a love interest. It's got to be this kind of personal thing. And in his defense, apparently, this main character, Lena, this is based on her life.
Right.
To a certain extent.
To an extent.
But it adds nothing to the film.
Nothing.
Like her in this
Abrams.
this interracial relationship that she's in the very beginning, which is so provocative to the point that it's distract. Like you can't just drop me in 1943 and say that this Jewish boy and this black girl are kind of have this friendship and relationship. Like you got to explain this. Like you can't just drop this in and then for it to not really go anywhere. And then there's the part where she meets the black soldier and apparently they end up married. But as you said, all that's not important.
No.
Like all you need is this story about this battalion. And again, I think there can be something here. I will say this. This is the best looking Tyler Perry film I've ever seen. I think
Best looking.
the best looking. I think the lighting, I think the set design, I think the costumes. I think this is a good looking film.
Okay.
I think there are moments in this film, the montage that you spoke of where they clean up the school, the moment that they recreate of the soldiers coming off
Marching into Europe.
Marching
Yes.
into Europe.
Yes, that's it. Those scenes.
Where I said, this is a competently directed moment right here.
That moment, yes, absolutely.
There's a split second. And this is the film right here. As we've said, you kind of bury the lead. These women figured out how to send 17 million pieces of mail back and forth. And understand, the problem is, and you know, they say it, but they don't really underline it and go into this. You have all these moving pieces. It's 1943. The troops are going from place to place. The mail's been sitting here, so it's been damaged. They're using nicknames in a lot of the correspondence. Like it's an amazing amount of variables. And then they add the detail, which I thought was a wonderful detail because I didn't even think about it. Some of the soldiers are writing. They can't say where they're writing from because you can't give away position. There is a scene where this battalion starts to talk about how they're going to put this puzzle together, how they're going to unravel it. They recognize some where the soldiers are basically writing in code.
Yes.
Like, I can't tell you where I am, but I can write in code and give you, you know, like a little picture of
They're
my
drawing pictures on the envelopes.
on the envelope. Or at one point, you know, the women who are the girlfriends who are writing use perfume. So there's someone who recognizes the perfume. Rats and vermin have eaten through some of the envelopes, so there are letters missing. Well, there's a girl in the battalion who loves crossword puzzles.
There you go.
So she can figure it out. That's the film.
Exactly. That's it.
And I think if Tyler Perry could let go of the side of the pool, not have the sassy, overweight black girl, not have the little love interest thing, not have the girls talk,
I
like
had the two grandmoms.
it's like a half hour with this bit with these two grandmothers and mothers and it's like an episode of Meet the Browns, 1943.
Exactly.
At one point they're snapping peas at the table. It's like nobody cares. Like, this isn't the movie. And it's not a great job. I don't think he does a great job. But there are moments that I think if he would buckle down and say, I'm going to concentrate, I'm going to take 3 weeks and write the script. This could have been more than what it was. As it is, like you, I admire the effort. Like you, I am glad that this story is told on this level. And frankly, it would take someone like Tyler Perry to get this made. This is a film that I don't know who else could have gotten it made. I don't know how this fits into my review at all, but I have to point out, Oprah Winfrey appears in one moment dressed up as historical figure Mary McLeod Bethune. And it was so ridiculous. I laughed so hard I had to pause the screen.
Yeah. And then you texted me.
Because I cannot believe Tyler Perry got Oprah Winfrey to dress up in this outfit, in this old lady wig, and sit there in the room. And someone with this kind of pull, someone with this type of prestige at this point in his career, it could have been much more than what it is. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it's bringing eyes to this moment in history. But yeah, kind of like you, I don't know. I don't know what else to really do with it.
Well, I'm going to take a pin out of
and to your point, I think that you get this dramatization of them cleaning up the school. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much all right, I'm not going to say Tyler because I don't know Tyler Perry's mind. I feel like there was not enough attention paid to the actual intellectual exercise that was involved in the logistics
of
this feat.
Yes.
And you think about something like Hidden Figures, mm-hmm. where you really
the comparison is right there,
right? Where you do highlight these black women and just the intellectual thrust of what they had to accomplish. Mm-hmm. And instead of embracing that, this script dramatizes this thing that I think, frankly, is a little easier to show.
See, one, taking a pin out of something that you said in regards to him writing it in 2 weeks, right? I do recognize that in his mind, he was up against a bit of a clock.
Okay.
Because he was trying to write this, one of the last surviving people of soldiers, mm-hmm. Was, I believe, the Lena character. I may be getting that wrong, but one of the last surviving soldiers was, at the time of this writing, yes, it was a Lena character, it was 99 years old.
Sure.
And that was with whom he was going to base a lot of this story on. Sure. After he had met with her.
Sure.
And he wanted to get this done in a time so that she could see it. And you can imagine.
Fair.
She's 99 years
that's
old.
Absolutely fair.
You got to push pedal to the metal.
Right.
And he was able to do that.
Right.
She passed away in January at the age of 100. She didn't make it to 100 years
right.
old. But he was able to show her the finish.
And that is admirable, and I would be more apt to give him a pass with that if we haven't had over 24 films where he has said the same thing. Like we ain't gonna put this on this beautiful woman passing, mm-hmm. and him saying he's got to give her flowers before she goes. Yeah, I'm not giving him because this is right. His MO.
You're right. That's what I'm gonna say. He doesn't get the full pass for that because if, to your point, he gets out of his way and recognizes that you can be the head writer, but you may need some help in developing these scripts, especially if it's a bigger project such as this.
Right. Yes.
Get some other eyes on this. If you had already had that in practice in this world that is to be admired, that he has built down there in Atlanta, if he had already had that in practice, by the time this project comes to his table, he's already got a squad of writers that he can put together, that in 2 weeks you still get that better script.
Well, the irony is he's got that Spike Lee thing in his head where he's got to write, produce, and direct. Like I think there are these filmmakers, and he's basically said this, that like they saw Spike Lee back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it says written, directed, and produced by Spike Lee. And that just sat in his head. And I said it's ironic because you and I have talked about many of Spike Lee's best projects, certainly as he gets later in his career, are ones where he doesn't write it.
That's true.
Like he just concentrates on directing.
But also we've also mentioned is that a lot of the best of Spike Lee was when he had Ernest Dickerson as his cinematographer, who has proven to be a phenomenal director on his own. So now, yes, Spike's getting the glories, but you have to imagine that he's also has Ernest there as a sounding board, telling him like, hey, maybe you want to think about this. Oh no, let's put the camera here, right?
You got a team.
There's nobody coming from the Tyler Perry camp
to
be producing or directing or writing other things. It's because it is Tyler Perry staying on top of everything and doing it on his own. We both shouted out his recreation of them marching into Europe. Yeah. And I will say, I really do think that is well done. Masterfully done.
Legitimately a
masterfully done
scene.
Especially when you see at the end of the film, you see the actual footage, and you see there are some actual points in the actual footage that are recreated.
Look, it's the different angles.
Yes,
it's the above. Like it's actually, I was like, oh, okay, Tyler Perry.
I want to say, okay, Tyler Perry. But I'm wondering how much of that is the cinematographer, because there's no lines there. There's no writing there. That is just them marching.
No, if you're
going to give him
if we're going to kick him for other aspects of it,
you got to give
it right. This like the buck stops here.
Okay. But that's the issue. That's the issue, that he cannot get out of his own way. And you talk about this as his best looking film. It probably is his best looking film because as a period piece, it doesn't look bad as a period piece, even though there are some inaccuracies that have been pointed out, some reviews, and I'm not going to get into them. But there are also a lot of the scenes in here, such as the scene with Oprah Winfrey as with her, with Sam Waterston and Susan Sarandon as Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt.
That's part of the half hour that would be cut from the Vince Williams cut. I was like, what the hell why are we in the White House?
Dude, first of all, I said,
what is
First of all,
I said, is that Oprah Winfrey in an old lady wig?
First of all, we weren't in the White House, because that would imply that the scene actually looked like we were in the White House. No, we were on a set on Tyler Perry Studios where he was able to get these actors down for one day and gave them their lines, and they played 1943 cosplay, because that is exactly what that scene looked like.
Susan Sarandon's teeth were amazing.
She was amazing as Eleanor Roosevelt. To be fair, that was the best looking Eleanor Roosevelt you're ever going to see. Sam Waterston, I'm pretty sure his script was in his lap. Like he was.
Also, Susan Sarandon had the teeth in her mouth, and they had Oprah Winfrey in this old lady outfit. Sam Waterston said, "Yeah, I'm just gonna wear a suit."
Yeah. Yeah. You've got me for an hour.
I am Roosevelt.
Check, please.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean.
And again, completely unnecessary. Completely unnecessary.
It's unnecessary. Okay, yes, it is absolutely unnecessary. I get what he's trying to do with it, though, but the dots don't really connect.
Look,
the dots don't.
I have to say, before we went into it, the only scenes that I had seen, the only little clips I had seen, were the one or two clips with Kerry Washington sort of giving these post-scandal monologues. You know, like, so I honestly thought it was going to be a bit of a bait and switch. And like they were using her to sell it, and then she was only going to be in it for like 2 scenes.
Oh, that Kerry Washington.
Was only going to be.
Okay.
But she is very much damn near the co-lead.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's
the
the front of the poster.
She's the co-lead is because Ebony Obsidian is the lead. Like it's, but. And God bless her. Like we said, I think all right, fine. Yeah, but they're young actresses. But just give the movie to Kerry Washington. Like, just have her be the lead. Like, just make it like a soldier story.
Well,
like the officer is the lead, and then the enlisted folks are sort of the supporting cast.
Yeah, or give it all to the enlisted folks, because there's a moment in this film where they kind of forget them. Now I understand you can't because of the actors that you cast.
Right. You need a
but that's where okay, Ebony Obsidian, you've been in other Tyler Perry projects. He's going to give you the bone to be in his prestige project.
Yeah.
All right. But I gotta throw some dollars and get a couple of other actors around you.
Look, I hear you, but you're recreating the wheel when Kerry Washington's sitting right there.
No, yeah, but I think there is a film to be made with there is a quote unquote band of sisters to be made here in this film if you get a better script first of all, and stronger actors.
I don't know if Tyler Perry is a strong enough director to do an ensemble like you're talking.
You're right, but
like I think even with this script, which again, like to me, the great crime of this film is the script.
You're right.
But even with this terrible script, I think Kerry Washington drags the thing on her back.
Yeah, but okay, and she's got the monologues to prove it. We're running late. Would I recommend this film?
Would you recommend this film?
Here's the rub. I'm going to recommend this film with a proviso.
Of course.
Go to Netflix. Punch in the 6888. Have the film start. Fast forward to the last 5 minutes and watch the footage of these women marching into Europe, because overlaid on that is basically their whole story in like, they giving you like the what they did, what they overcame in like script overlaid over the footage of them marching into Europe, because it is a story worth being told. I honestly don't feel you are missing much if you don't watch the movie, but I think it is a story to be told, so I say watch the film, if only to get to that end part, to watch these women authentically march into Europe and actually have their story told and honored the way that it deserves to be.
I'll start there with saying that you recommend it just for this story. And again, I applaud Tyler Perry for telling this story, because I don't know who else is in the position and has the mindset to tell this story. So, like, I don't know who else would have done it.
I could come up with a couple, but I don't want to get this late.
I mean, someone else who has the pull of Tyler Perry?
I think actually if Oprah Winfrey herself wanted to
Oprah
just...
Winfrey's not a director.
No, I'm going to say, I think if she wanted to do this, she could have pulled together a stronger production, a better production of this.
All right, yeah, we can argue about that because, yeah. I think if you were interested in Tyler Perry, which, frankly, I think you have to be interested in Tyler Perry, even if you just kind of pay attention to him.
Mm-hmm.
There are moments in this film that I think are worth putting in the Tyler Perry collage.
Okay.
As far as him, we talked about the montage with the marching. I actually like that scene where they put together the school. There's actually a moment where there's an air raid where the girls all run and hide, which I thought was a pretty solid moment.
Okay.
But it is what it's a Tyler Perry movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Tyler Perry movie, so yes, I'm also recommending it.
All right. Well, there you go.
Right, 2 recommendations.
2 recommendations for the 688
888.
streaming out on Netflix. Free plug. All right. Before we tell you what we're going to be watching next week, we invite you to send all of your thoughts via email to the Micheaux Mission at gmail.com. That's MICHEAUXMISSION@gmail.com. If you like our show, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell on YouTube, where we stream every Tuesday night, and we're trying to build up our little YouTube channel. You can also find the Micheaux Mission available wherever you find podcasts. That means Apple, that means Spotify, that means Pandora, that means wherever you find podcasts, you will find the Micheaux Mission, which streams live right here from Young Junk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace in the city of brotherly love. If you want to book yourself and your podcast here at Young Junk, then hit our guy Dylan at youngjunk.com. That's DYLAN at youngjunk.com. Next week, here on the Micheaux Mission, it is Vincent's turn at bat, and he returns to World War II. Mm-hmm. And he returns to one of his favorite directors, if not his favorite director, Spike Lee, as he gets his World War II period piece on in The Miracle at St. Anna.
All right.
Next week, here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vincent, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.